Tonight on the Booze at 10, the Magic Bartender, Matt Parrott. Hey guys, thank you for joining me for Booze at 10 number 3. On tonight's show, Matt Parrott, the Magic Bartender. He's a Fridays bartender that I met through the magic industry while I was working for World Magic Shop. Enjoy the interview. So, welcome to the second Booze at 10 with Matt Parrott. Hello, Matt.
Hi. Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad at all. Do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, I'm Matt Parrott. I've been a bartender for 6.5 years now. With mainly TGI Fridays, also consult a little bit, do lectures, and I perform and work as Magic Bartender because I'm also a magician like yourself.
Very nice. I mean, I wouldn't describe myself as a magician. I've worked in the magic industry a little bit in the past. I did do bits, but I was never really like a working magician as such. So I'm more of a hobbyist. But
yes.
I
consider you a magician because that's how we met first.
It was, weirdly.
Yeah. Same for Brendan Rodriguez as well. I met him through magic, but then everyone I know in bartending knows him as well.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I met him the other way. So I met Brendan through Flair, because he was at the Maxwell's that was in Oxford, I think, at the time.
Yes.
They used to have competitions there, which I know Maxwell's and Roadhouse are very close together. I think Roadhouse might be owned by Maxwell's or something like that, part of the group. So yeah, that was how I met Brendan, and then I was like, oh, he's a magician as well now. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, so how did you... Let's start off with the bartending thing. How did you get into bartending originally?
Well, it was accidental. I worked for Pret a Manger beforehand, and my old juggling partner, because I'm also a juggler, he got a job at TGI Fridays. He wanted to go into management, and they told him he needed to hire someone that could replace him. So they told me I had to get there, I had to certify in 2 weeks. I did it. Never been a bartender before. Bear in mind, when I started for Fridays, I hadn't drank for 5 years. So I had no experience of alcohol. And then, I went from making sandwiches to a job where I can throw bottles about, I can juggle, can talk to guests, give a great experience. So I was like, this is the job for me. And then I stuck with it.
Absolutely. I mean, I sort of fell into Fridays having met Raging Rob Stevens behind the bar at Blue Water he was at the time. Yeah. So quite a way back. That was about 2002 I met him. I'd done Chicago Rock and stuff like that. And worked for a few other different places, like little nightclubs and stuff. But that was the one that I really wanted, was to work at Fridays, having met Rob. Ended up getting the job at Sutton Coldfield, and then had to certify myself, basically, because there were no certified bartenders on the bar there when I started in 2003. And it took me about 3 months, I think, but I don't think that was too bad. It was the last couple of weeks that we ended up with, one of the guys came back and did my certification shifts. So he'd been away for a summer, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, and then the magic side of it, were you already doing magic at the time? And you said it was your juggling partner that got you into Fridays. So.
Yeah, so I've done magic for 16 years this year, I think, which feels like a considerably long time. And yeah, I got into magic, and then I got into juggling, and that's when I joined the circus skills group at my university, where I met him, and then I ran a circus skills company for a while that didn't do too much, and that's where it went from there.
Jugglers not always the most business-minded of people at the time with it.
This is very true. There's not a lot of money to be made in juggling. Let's put it that way.
Certainly a lot less in this country than in the States, where you can do pass a hat and things like that. I know Penn Teller and sort of Penn Teller did a lot of sort of street magic, carnival type stuff.
Well, do you know the story about what their accountant said to them when they were performing on the streets?
Wasn't it something about, we need to find a legit way to account for this because you look like a drug dealer? Yeah, something 100%. Along those lines, wasn't it? Because that was really in the early days when it was that Asparagus Valley back then?
Yeah. Oh god, many years ago for them.
Three guys, Penn Teller and another guy who was probably regretting some of his early life decisions at this stage.
I feel like he got pushed out more than anything. We're Christopher, that was his name.
Okay, cool.
He wanted to do one thing.
So with the magic and bartending, do you combine the two quite a lot, or?
Yeah, I do. So I combine it as much as I can. My approach to magic is a bit different to a lot of people's, but I try and fit in here and there. So especially when I've been in the final for Bartender Challenge for TGI Fridays, I always fit in as much magic that's appropriate as I can.
Cool.
So I don't know if you saw my... I made pins appear this year.
Oh, no, I didn't see
final.
That. Cool. Was that on the waistcoat?
I'll send you a video of it.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
we'll drop that in.
Yeah, I have over 100 pins, and I made them all appear in the video.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I've used a bit of magic again in the past. I think the last time that I did a Best Bartender final was like 2006, I want to say, something like that, 2006, 2007, down in Covent Garden. And actually, in the flair side of that, I was up against Brian, that won it last year. So, good times, good times. We've both been around far too long.
Not as long as Rob Stevens.
Well, no. Rob Stevens was already a world champion, I think, before I even started with the company. Was it about 99 or something like that?
2002 and 2019 he's won UK final.
Very nice. And he won Flair as well this year, right?
Yes, he did. I think it's the first time he's won the Flair.
Yeah, and didn't get to go to America because coronavirus, so yeah.
Yeah, well, he was lucky because there was a tornado that ripped through exactly where it should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard all about that stuff. So yeah, it's upsetting and it's unfortunate, but I'm sure he'll get another chance to get to the States. That guy just does not quit.
No, he's not going anywhere, is he?
No, absolutely. Cool. So I've got a handful of questions here that I always ask every guest that I have on the show.
Go for it.
And with these, I always ask if you can keep it to about 30 seconds. How do you introduce yourself to new people? Do you start off with bartender or magic?
I use both. I think it's important for me to recognise both magic and the bartending side of what I do because it's all about an experience, and that's what I want to give everyone.
How did you become a bartender and get to where you are now?
I got into bartending accidentally, and then I found that there was always something new to learn, and I'm one of those people that likes to learn something new. So I could learn everything about all the cocktails I make, but then I've still got all the beer, I've still got all the wine, the individual ingredients, kind of make it better. And that, for me, is the benefit of bartending over any other position that I could do.
Who are your inspirations? We can do a separate one if you want for magic and a separate one for bartending.
Bartending for me, so I'm more towards the entertainment side, so towards the flair side. A big inspiration for me is Nicholas St. John. Because to me, he doesn't just focus on, this is flair bartending. He also takes inspiration from juggling, from magic. So if you follow his Instagram, you can see him doing magic moves. You can see, I've watched bits and gone, that's a contact juggler move. And that, to me, is so much better than just throwing 16 bottles in the air.
And for magic?
Magic, I got into magic because of Penn Teller. And it's probably why I ended up writing a book on geek magic and all those weird little bits.
In terms of the Penn Teller stuff, are you skeptical as well in terms of...
Yeah, I'm a skeptic.
Yeah, cool. Similar. Right, what is your number one tip for new bartenders joining the profession?
Presume you know nothing and be surprised when you know something.
Cool. That's a nice little bit of wisdom there.
So when I started, I hadn't drank for 5 years. So when my manager said to me, you need to go and learn about alcohol, I was like, well, I know nothing about alcohol. I presume I know nothing. So I'm going to learn everything I can. And then when I came back, 3 days later, and just listed everything off about all the spirits we did, he was like, oh my God. I was like, I did that because I knew nothing and had to work hard.
Yeah, I think starting from the very basics is really interesting because it's surprising how many people, including a lot of bartenders probably bartenders that aren't in kind of more independents, I guess, don't actually know how alcohol's made, what each spirit is made from originally.
Well, that's so. At the moment, we're doing Famous Five within TGI Fridays, and we've been rolling out some new spirits and stuff. And we're talking about Tito's vodka, and we're saying Tito's vodka is the only vodka on our bar that is made from potatoes. And the amount of bartenders I've had go, "Oh, isn't all vodka made from potatoes?" You're just like, no.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things, because I do quite a lot. In my current role with LWC, I do a lot of sort of gin masterclasses and things like that for the general public, a lot of consumer stuff. So when we go out and I sort of say to everyone, right, what's vodka made of? Everyone goes for potatoes, and you go through what it can be made of, and then you go to, right, what's gin? It's basically flavoured vodka, but with specific flavours. And that really surprises a lot of people as well. So you could have a potato gin. You could have, I think, does Tyrrell's Chase, I guess, isn't it? They were doing potato gin, I guess.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, because Tyrrell's Crisps is Chase vodka, I think, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong there, but yeah, it's really interesting when you kind of dig deep and you kind of work out a lot of this stuff. You walk into a new bar. What drink do you order?
Typically an old-fashioned. Because to me, that's, for a cocktail bar, that's the judge for me of what is my experience of this bar going to be. Is it going to be a fruit salad, or is it going to be bitter, or or my personal preference, will the bartender ask me how I like my old-fashioned?
Cool.
If they're willing to do that, then I know I'm going to have a good time.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. When we were in New York, we had, I think we went to a Hard Rock Cafe, and the old-fashioned that I got was in a pint glass with crushed ice and a lot of fruit floating in it.
They must have taken instructions from that famous video that goes around.
Yes, but have you seen that she's actually redone it now? Jim
really?
Beam. Jim Beam got in touch with her and did a whole series of videos going, this is how it should be done.
I'm going to have to hunt that out. That sounds amazing.
I'll try and find it and shoot you a link over. If you could sit at any bar in the world, which one would it be?
I mean, classically, the Savoy.
Yeah? The American bar?
Yeah. My fiance is also a bartender, very experienced bartender as well. She's worked for everyone. And that's her favourite bar. So I have to take her advice on that.
And have you been down there before?
I haven't. She really wants to take me. We were going to go after Bartender Challenge, but we were too busy, unfortunately.
Gotcha. This is the last question. If you could only drink one cocktail for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'd have to stick with an old-fashioned again, then. I mean, you can cheat with that because you can have so many variations of it. But, yeah, that's what I'd stick with.
That's cool. No, I like that. I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy as well. I love old-fashions. But, yeah, you get a massive amount of variation just within different whiskies, using a rye in there, using different bitters and stuff. Is there anything else that you would like to point out to our bartenders? Is there any resources if they want to get first into magic or anything like that?
Magic-wise, magic and bartending. See, because I came from the magic side, I don't know what resources there are. I take that way, but I think the one piece of that I'll always say is something that I picked up from D. Christopher was they don't remember what you say, they don't remember what you do, they remember how you make them feel. And that's always how I try to bartend at every point, and how I try to do my magic is remember that the drinks are inconsequential, it's how they feel at the end of the day, because that's what makes people come back. Awesome.
I like that. It really applies to magic as well as bartending, and pretty much anything else that you do where you're interacting with other humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. Awesome. Where can people find you online?
My Instagram is @magicbartender, all one word. I have a website on the way, but please don't search that because it's not ready yet.
As soon as it is, let me know and we'll add it to the show notes.
Absolutely. That's the main place to find me at the moment. Not that it's active very much at the moment on lockdown.
Brilliant stuff. Well, if you've got any videos of you performing that you want me to tag onto the end of this video, I'm more than happy to. And we can do something like that. If you've got anything you want me to show, that's absolutely fine.
Awesome. I'll send something your way.
Brilliant stuff. Matt, thank you so much for joining us on the Booze at 10. Guys,
thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. And we will catch you on the next show. Thanks very much. So, Drinks for Heroes today, we are doing Wonder Woman. This was requested by Nicole Barker from the Happy Bartenders group, Happy Bartenders Thrive on Facebook. Should be having her on the show very soon as well, so look out for that one. We are doing a Wonder Woman drink. Now, Wonder Woman's first comic book appearance was in the 40s, I believe it was 1944, episode 8 of one of the comic books from DC. So, we are going to do a daiquiri variant. The daiquiri was pretty much as popular as drinks got back in the 40s. We're going to do it with the Old J spiced. Rather than using the gold spice that we've got, we're going to use the silver. Old J is a spiced rum that has got a whole bunch of vanilla to it, and I think that makes a cracking daiquiri. It is a little bit sweeter, so it means you don't need to use as much sugar in your daiquiri. So I would go for 2 ounces or 60 mils of the Old J Silver, 30 mils or 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, and probably just a 1/4 ounce of sugar syrup. Now, obviously, you can change that based on your personal preferences and exactly how sweet you like your drink. I would start off with just a 1/4 ounce because that rum is quite sweet. Give that a good shake, strain it into a coupe glass, and serve. You are good to go. Now, I love to use dehydrated or freeze-dried garnishes in my drinks, so that is what I would go for. I'd also probably use a Demerara sugar. It just gives it a little bit more bite, a little bit more depth to the flavour when you're talking about a sugar syrup, which is a very, very simple flavour. It should just be pure sweetness, but I kind of like that roughness that you get with the Demerara sugar in there. So check that out. I will leave the full recipe in the show notes as well. Give it a try, and I would love to know what you think. If you don't have access to Old J Silver, go with a white rum and replace the 1/4 ounce of simple syrup for a 1/2 ounce of a vanilla syrup, and you should be good to go. Enjoy! So guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Matt Parrott, the Magic Bartender. You can find him on all the social networks that he's mentioned. I will also include them in the show notes, of course. If you're interested in picking up some magic for yourself behind the bar, obviously there's a lot of resources out there, but one that I would like to draw your attention to is quite handy for me because it is an affiliate of the show. So you can go to bartenderhq.com/masterclass. That's the link that I gave you for the Ryan Lyon mixology course. They also have Penn Teller Teach Magic. So, if you have ever thought about learning magic, Penn Teller will take you through everything from the very basics all the way through to really kind of professional stuff. They coach a couple of magicians on there. I believe Piff the Magic Dragon and Matt Donnelly is the other guy, who are both kind of at very different points in their career. And it's really, really in-depth. Masterclass is some of the best teaching you will find on the internet. It is not cheap. However, at the moment, I believe they are giving a buy one, get one free for annual memberships. So if you buy a membership, you can give one to a friend and you can learn together. Check it out at bartenderhq.com/masterclass. That is an affiliate link and it will give us a kickback to help support the show. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Booze at 10.